A French maid, a foreign chef, a big house with a king-size bed. You've had enough, you ship them out. The dollar's up, down, you'd better buy the pound. The claim is on you, the sights are on me. So what do you do that's guaranteed? Hey, little girl, you broke the laws. You hustle, you deal, you steal from us all. Come on, love me for the money. Come on, listen to the money talk. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, taking a size 12 to the side of the head of woke PC culture and taking no prisoners.
That's right. And actually, I'm a 10 and a half wide.
Yeah.
You could be this. You're the size 12.
I got a 12. Yeah.
Holy cow!
I know. I got big feet.
You and O.J. Simpson.
Big old
those
clown
Bruno
feet.
Mollies? Are those Bruno Mollies down there?
No.
Okay, I just wondered.
No. Go Chucks or go home. That's.
I got the duck feet. I get the every time. If I don't get wides, then the sides of my shoes will start breaking up after a couple of months.
Really?
So I have to get and then I have to wear an 11.
Yeah.
10 and a half wide is way more comfortable. So yeah. Wow. So combined, we're a 23. Then we got a size 23. We got an Andre the Giant between the two of us. Maybe. Maybe. So
wow. Yeah.
Jay, how's it going this week? The weather gets colder.
Yeah.
And come hell or high water, we do this show no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't sit home and do nothing.
There are no reruns. The learning never stops here at the Community Solutions Institution of Local Government.
Well, I've had people say I should be instituted before, so
I have
nothing new.
I have friend and foe have both told me that. I have to admit.
Instituted, I get institutionalized.
Yeah, we know what you meant. I could do both. I could be instituted and institutionalized. It's kind of like that scene in Austin Powers, where all the frozen people are. I could be institutionalized or instituted.
Well,
all right.
Yes.
Enlighten us on our music choice. Of course, I don't know my 8 1/4 right answers. It's going to have to stand for another week.
Quarter. You really don't know that one, huh?
What was the song called?
Money Talks. AC/DC.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I didn't know the title. I never heard the title of it.
Well,
you just said a bunch of lyrics.
No,
I
never heard. Did too.
You never said Money
Yeah.
Talks. Rewind the tape. I never heard that.
Come on. Listen to the Money Talk.
Oh.
That part, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know the song now. See, if they sing it,
yeah.
If
it sounds like, come on.
Right.
Yeah. If I had read it like that, maybe.
The lead singer of AC/DC, don't tell me his name because I'll think of it, and the guy from CCR, Fogarty, have the most, and I'd add Willie Nelson to that, have the most unimitatable voices on the face of the earth.
Axl Rose would fit.
Okay, he's up there, but Willie Nelson after one word.
Right.
AC/DC hasn't changed in 50 years.
Right.
And John Fogerty, I would know from anywhere.
Thing. I mean, AC/DC did change a little bit, but it's interesting because they've had two singers after
Agnes guy or something?
No, Agnes. Yeah, Angus. Yeah, he's the guitar player.
Young
he's
or
still
something,
there.
right?
Angus Young is still in the band, yes.
Well, I knew I know somebody.
Bon Scott had passed away, and then Back in Black was the first album with Brian Johnson on lead vocals, and
I know a few Brian Johnsons.
Yes. Yes, not a unique name by any stretch.
No. Yeah, probably like the 10th most common. I mean,
I don't know.
What do you think? Just the most common last name other than Johnson. What would you think it is in this country? Anderson?
Oh, in this country, not in the world. Because if it was in the world, it would be like Chang or
it'd be a Chinese name, or you'd go to a Hispanic country, it'd be Gonzalez or Martinez or something. But what do you think in America?
Maybe Smith.
I was thinking Smith. I was thinking Anderson. I was thinking Williams.
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Peterson,
I mean, it's just but Johnson. I mean. That name has to be 10% of the nation. It has to be a Johnson.
I don't know who John is, but he sure had a lot of kids.
What if he's originally from Utah? No, I just.
Wow.
Jay, we're going to jump right into things because we're talking about. We did a show a few weeks ago on taxes.
Yes.
And or local budgets and what their things might look like. Just before we get into the meat and potatoes here. someone very near and dear to this show made the news again.
It's like a sister to us, or maybe more like a grandmother.
Yeah, or maybe a mother-in-law. I don't know. Our favorite former mayor is in the news. It's interesting to see what the local channels will report on here in the northwest suburbs. Nobody's talking about the former mayor of Crystal calling people Nazis or yelling and screaming at council meetings or singling out anything. No, it's all about the solar panels that are now on her and Mr. Selton's home and on
Mr. Bowman.
Mr. Bowman, whatever you want to call him, in Crystal.
Yes.
And some interesting things about this whole piece, okay? And you can go to our blog, Community Solutions.
I'll link it.
Yeah, mn.com. You can go to Channel 12's website, and they have a whole, they'll have a little story on it. It's about a minute long. Amazing how much information can come out in 1 minute. And amazing what you and I can make out of it. Because I'm not sure that the average person would bat an eye listening to that piece. And I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong about it, and everything that is fundamentally just backward thinking. Yeah. And it's got nothing to do with clean air or anything like that, okay? Yes. Because that's what some people might take from that, and if you do, you're an ignoramus. Now,
well,
Bowman's first statement in this video is hilarious. She says, quote, "I'm not a scientist or an expert." Now, Jay, I don't know about you, but truer words cannot be spoken. Okay?
For once, I agree.
I not only wholeheartedly agree with Renee, but I would second it, third it, and I'm just going to pass it without a vote. It's a voice resolution. I'm the only voice saying it.
It made the consent agenda.
Yeah. Nobody will pull that out of the consent agenda. She's not a scientist or an expert. Okay. The piece goes on to explain that she had 25 solar panels installed on her house.
Yes.
At the very affordable price of $27,000. That's $1,080 a pop.
Yes. Wow.
For these solar, and they're not very big either.
No.
So
no, it shows them in the video.
Yeah, and they're not very big at all. And how that's paid for is, and I'm going to get into, just stick with me for a second.
Okay.
A classic example of what's wrong with anything else in this country.
Yes. 2/3
of it is paid through tax credits. Now, I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between a deduction and a credit. A deduction comes off your AGI.
Yes.
Your adjusted gross income. A credit is money, cash money, homie, in your pocket.
That's right.
We cut a check to the former mayor of Crystal for $18,000 so she can put solar panels on her roof. Now, Jay, let me just jump in here. Oh, I'm already jumped in. Let me jump in even further. Why do you think the price of solar panels has stayed so expensive?
Because they suck.
Okay, that's one reason.
Okay.
There's another reason.
Yes.
Because the price is subsidized. If I own a solar company, what is my incentive to be more cost efficient, if I told you, Jay, you can have whatever you want. Let's say you need a
college education.
Yeah, whatever. Let's say your fridge is getting old, okay? And you think you don't have $2,000 to spend on it. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you $1,500. Oh, okay. Well, that's a different story.
Right.
Okay, what's the difference between the two? And this is what I compare it to. Go back to the 1920s.
Yes.
Okay. Ford Motor Company was facing a major dilemma. I don't know how much of this is 100% truth. I think there's a little urban legend into this, but Henry Ford, his workers could not afford the products they were building.
Yes.
That's a fact.
That is a fact.
So they tried every which way to fix that. They tried. I don't even know what they tried. Finally, they built this assembly line. Mr. Ford did not run to the government and ask for a subsidy.
No.
Did not ask for tax-free land to work this on. Did not ask for a tax-funded stadium.
No Chrysler bailout.
Yeah, no, nothing. It was all him putting this. He provided pretty much the sole money to try all of these things.
Right.
Imagine if the government was paying for 2/3 of the cost of a vehicle at the time.
Yes.
Would we have ever seen a company like Ford innovate, streamline, do whatever they could so buy their product?
No, and here is why. This is why I brought up a college education, because
education.
Yes, how much of education today is paid for by tax dollars?
Right.
Where grants and things of that, Stafford loans, obviously have to be paid back, but grants come from the government. How much of college education is funded by the government? And so there's no incentive for colleges to be competitive.
Right. And we all know, too, I mean, somebody can get $100,000 to go to college, can't get $10,000 to start a business. I mean, the entrepreneurship is just sort of gone. But you could apply this anywhere. I mean, look today at something like what Amazon was doing in New York. Basically, the head of Amazon, who's like the richest person on the face next, wanted a bunch of tax breaks to come to New York. And it's like, well, wait a minute here. What the heck? I mean, I actually side with the people who didn't support that, because what are you saying if you support it? What are you saying to all your other businesses? What are you saying? I mean, why does this Bezos bozo, why does he need tax credits to come somewhere? If I'm New York, I say to myself, why won't he come here?
Right.
Maybe it's my income taxes, my regulations, my blah, blah, blah. I mean, when am I going to fix that?
Right.
So, I mean, but this, again, so the price of solar energy isn't going anywhere, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, as long as these credits are there.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I want to say one more thing about this piece. Bowman goes on to say that she's financed the other third of it, which would be about $9,000, over a 7-year period. Is that a loan? Is that? And by the way, since the world's going to end in 2030, investment.
Oh, you didn't hear her. They've upped that date. They're saying like 12 years or something like that. Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
but yet Barack Obama just bought a big house out on
right off the ocean, right off, where all the middle class people live, right? Live with another. But again, if solar energy is the way of the future, and I don't think it is, it could be a part of it. Of course, there's maintenance costs to this, like there is in anything. I mean, anybody who has a furnace or has a water heater knows damn well that what you paid to install it isn't all that you're going to pay for it out of its life.
You think that thing's going to run forever without anything?
Yeah, it's crazy. But
even my guitar needs a tune-up every 6 months.
Even people need a tune-up once in a while.
There's that.
So you'll be happy to know, folks. But I mean, you got to understand, people like Bowman, they don't care. They don't care about the money. I mean, to them, the greater good trumps the almighty dollar, and they're doing their part. They're doing their part to save the earth, Jay.
But
and you're not doing yours.
It's situational, and that's it.
Of course, it's situational.
Because talks about how, in the piece of I'm going to be energy free, where I'm not going to have to pay any money for energy in X amount of years, and it'll start paying for itself. Where were you? Where were you when it came down to personal choice? When there were people that wanted to keep their homes or their businesses, and you decided that you wanted to rip them up and put in a medical center and put in frontage roads and widen 81. Where were you when Crystal had this ordinance about not being able to have wells, and all the wells were capped? Why didn't you get rid of that? Where were you when people maybe objected to having people come in their house to do footing and drain inspections when putting in the new meters? almost deputizing them to come in and check up on you. So where was your personal freedom then? Instead, you told me these people get to come in or we're cutting off your water. I'm not going to.
Well, Jay, then you could dig a hole.
I am not going to go around and just arrest people willy-nilly. After I said that she needed a warrant to come in my house for an inspection, she didn't know the difference between a search warrant and an arrest warrant.
Probably still doesn't.
That's a different issue. And you deputize these people to come in and look in my home, and even after the battle, and you accused me of just trying to hide something, and lo and behold, when they came in, there was nothing wrong. I was actually just standing on principle, which is something that you wouldn't know about.
Wouldn't know it if it ran her over. My house sitting on an aquifer. And I can't touch it.
Yep.
Thanks to the city of Crystal.
But yet she told me to go dig a well if they shut the... But I can't because the ordinance won't let me. I had a well, and you capped it.
Jay, yes. just a quick thought here. There was a time where a man or his family had a plot, and they figured out how to live off that land the best they could.
Yes.
Read Little House on the Prairie, okay? They figured out how to graze cattle in the middle of the plain states. And today we can't do anything without government threatening to shut our water off. I mean, where has it gone?
Well, I mean, at least
don't give Plymouth any ideas here, because it's just it's getting pretty rough over there too.
She touts her rain barrel. What is that except a well above ground?
I don't know. I just like to know the wildflowers that are in her backyard. How do you grow wildflowers? Isn't that kind of an oxymoron?
Yeah, they're not so wild, I guess when you grow them. Oh well.
enough times. I just want you to know, folks, that just be happy. That $18,000, the U.S. government cut a check.
Yes.
To former Mayor Crystal, so she could put solar panels
out of your pocket.
So if everybody does that, 18 grand times 300 million people, well, not homes, but, like Walmart, they're big into solar. You want to know why? Because you're paying for it.
That's right.
You're the one footing the bill, not them.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't they be?
It's like, heck, I'd be into dinner if you're paying for it.
Well,
that's how it goes. It's like, I'm not going to go buy solar panels myself. Why would I do that? They're inefficient. They're expensive.
And the price ain't going anywhere.
No. Nope.
Speaking of prices not going anywhere.
Yes.
We enter the realm of local income taxes. No, we're not joking. We're not. You might say, what are you talking about? Yeah. I'm not paying a local income tax. Well, folks, you could be.
Yeah.
Don't you sleep on this for a minute. Right now, Jay, there are people plotting, planning, trying to come up with a marketing plan to have cities. I mean, again, remember, this is everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Tax your income. Reduce your take-home pay.
Yes.
Redistribute wealth like we try to do at the federal and state levels, and it's miserably failed, but we continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised. Now, right now, we can't do this in the state of Minnesota. But don't think that there aren't people out there planning this, plotting this, thinking about this, trying to figure out how they can get the legislature to allow this.
Yes. So let's say local income tax. I'm going to say this is for cities, counties, school districts to charge an income tax on you.
All three.
Right. Now, and before you say that's some strange conspiracy theory, that will never happen.
You conspiracy nut.
Yeah. Yeah. There are local governments in a number of states right now that impose a local income tax. This is not new. They are in addition to federal and state income taxes. they generally apply to people that work and live within the city that charges them,
which is strange.
Yes,
work and live.
Yes, and that's from an employer side and an employee side. So, yeah, like I say, this is already being done, and it's being done at the county level, it's being done at the city level, and it's being done at the school district level. And it's done in addition to property taxes in some cases. It's not an either-or scenario.
No, I mean, in a lot of these states have state income taxes on top of it. Of course, we have federal taxes on top of it, sales taxes on top of it, gas taxes on top of it. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And the funny thing about it, Jay, is it's not. I wonder how many people out there are thinking, "Oh, it's California, New York, Illinois, some of the states in the North, Vermont." That's probably what some people are thinking out there. And I'm going to tell you something. That's what I thought too. Until we did some studying, and we do mass amounts of studying on this program.
Yes.
And found, listen to some of the states: Alabama.
Yes.
Indiana.
Arkansas.
Regular Kansas.
Yes.
West Virginia. And I'm staring at the presidential results from the last election. 69-22 in favor of President Trump. And they have got local sales taxes there.
Yep. The Ohio.
The Ohio. But,
yes.
Just some of the, there's a few, Missouri is kind of a surprise. And Kentucky.
Yeah. As John Kerry would say, Iowa.
The man who went skiing in a suit and tie.
Yes.
In Arkansas, I blame Clinton. I don't know if it was Clinton, but I'm going to blame him anyway.
That's a good guess.
You know me. I'm the one that opposed that local income tax. You got me to thank, baby. You got me. I don't even live there anymore. I don't have to pay him at all.
I got out of that dump as soon as I could.
That's right. It depends on the meaning of the word is.
Yes.
Right. All right. So, and then some states, that don't have it, might surprise you too. States, like I meant, Illinois doesn't have it, and Massachusetts doesn't have it. I mean, I can't think of two more left-wing states really. Rhode Island doesn't have it, and
Washington State doesn't have it.
No, they don't. And so you got a real mix now.
Yeah.
Some of those states pay lower taxes everywhere else, and granted, that's true. However, and a lot of those states don't have the local government aid to merry-go-round like we do in Minnesota. I mean, we can't go through all of that. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
But when a revenue stream, Jay, this is my fear here, because one thing we know, and that we've proven on this program for almost 3 years, is that governments have a tendency to copy each other.
Yes, they do.
It's not only monkey see, monkey do. It's like monkey see, monkey procreate. Okay? So
it's more like this. Some scientist in a secret laboratory in, say, Washington, D.C., comes up with a serum to create monkeys, and the monkeys go everywhere.
They get cloned in all these cities.
Yes.
But one thing we've learned about revenue sources, I call them tax sources, but we'll call them revenue. We'll play their game for a minute.
Why not?
When those sources get opened, they never get closed. It's kind of like opening a dam and then having like the lever break, and it will never get closed again. I mean, tell me a tax that's gone away.
Oh, I know. Franchise fees.
No. Tell about the Twin Stadium
franchise
tax.
fees have never gone away. That is still existing.
How about why we have an alcohol tax here in Minnesota?
Yeah.
To pay for the Metrodome.
Right.
Well, I don't think that's there anymore. But it's my Gilby's Gin is still getting charged. I'm still paying for that. We're keeping those libraries open so Mike Opat has something to run on for re-election.
So drag queens can go tell stories to kids.
Sheila's.
Oh, boy.
So, I mean...
Yes.
And the cost of that to us, the taxpayer only goes up. Jay, Minnesota's first income tax was in 1933 at 1% to 5%. And almost nobody back then paid a 5%.
Right.
Today, that income tax is second in the nation only to California, paying nearly 10%.
Yeah.
A little bit depending on your income. The original sales tax in Minnesota in 1967 was 3%. Today, it's 7 point, depending on the county or the whatever. So, I mean, we've seen these taxes over generations just do nothing but increase. Who's paying less in property taxes than they were 10 years ago? Nobody. So, you open this revenue stream, and we know where it'll go first. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Duluth, Mankato, maybe St. Cloud.
St. Louis Park. Oh, wait.
Well, but it'll go to those cities first. Then it will eventually. I mean, look at how franchise fees have exploded. Look at the way Tobacco 21 has been spreading. I mean,
but that's because there's a plan to do it. You know,
right.
And that's the thing. I mean, you get somebody like the League of Minnesota Cities, you know, to start pushing something.
Did we check if they want to push this? I don't even want to look.
I don't think I that's a good question. It did kind of cross my mind.
Well, I mean, I mean, let me ask a dumb question before we move on this, because we're going to talk a little bit specifics about some states here and what they allow. Is paying, I think in theory, paying a government directly and holding them accountable for my money is better. And again, I'm in the world of the philosophy here.
Right.
Okay, I'm not saying I support this. Don't put words in my mouth. Is better than sending my money to one place and having it distributed everywhere else. Now, in theory, is that not true?
That's true, and I think if we were dealing with kind of a flat type tax, you know, where people can't game the system, then, you know, that might be a good route to go.
Yeah, but of course that's not the system that we have. But I mean, think about. I'll bring up school districts because school districts are part of this in some states.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be better to pay all of your money to the local school district? None of it come from the federal government. None of it come from the state government. And every district, you know, their barometer is their own people who live and work there, and that's it.
Yes.
But how do you devise a system? You can't have a system where they're getting money from 10 different places and they blame the other 9 every time there's an issue with one. So that's where but I'm telling you, folks, you got to trust us here.
16 cities are going to seek legislative approval for a local sales tax this year. Okay. And the 22 cities are going to hold referendums, but that's as far as these cities can go right now.
By the way, they need the legislature's permission to do that.
They do. But I don't, I'm not seeing that they are supporting so far a income tax.
The league you're talking about?
Yeah, okay. But they do support the sales tax, and they do support these referendums. They state that. So
support having it on the ballot or support them passing?
Well,
support people getting the choice?
Yeah, the ability to be able to do it.
Okay, but the problem with that is we had Garrett Christensen on the show from Elk River. And what was Elk River City Council saying? You either pass this or we're going to do it anyway. So what stops these cities from just bonding the hell out of these things instead of paying it directly as you go?
Well, nothing. Yeah. Nothing would stop that. And they would do it.
New council members,
like we said,
new council members would stop that. That's the only thing that would stop that.
Right. But like we said, monkey see, monkey do. You know, and so
I think they're tacitly supporting these referendums. They know the more cities that can impose this, the more cities are going to, the city A just passed something, so city B is going to try it.
Right.
Hey, legislature, why don't you just let everybody do this? And said, Bob, I mean, that's what we're saying. That's what it's the being paper cut to death again. It's the slow over time, slow strangulation that's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the league comes out and says, that they support these sales taxes. I mean, right here, this is a cities seek legislative approval for local sales taxes. And it says a league-sponsored bill that would generally authorize local sales taxes for a defined list of traditional capital projects is also in the works. That's from February 4th of all the way back in 2019.
So they're on it. They're on a bill to let everybody do this.
Yes. So, I mean, they've got to have their people at the National League of Cities write up a policy first, and then filter it down to the states.
And then they have to figure out how to make it Minnesota specific.
Exactly, because the law will have to be changed. But as we see here, they write they write bills to be submitted, and they lobby for those bills to get included into committee discussions. And so it's just a matter of time.
Right, and it starts out small. Look at the Sunday liquor sale repeal.
Right.
That was a joke 10 years ago. Now it's law. It took a while.
Yeah.
It took some new people down there. But ultimately, it passed. But ultimately, that was in the plotting and planning for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
So, I'm sure it is. I'm sure in one of their drawers down at the their desk drawers, they've got the legislation probably already written.
Right. Well, they need a crisis first, I think, to be able to pass something like that.
A recession,
a huge drop in local government aid, or getting rid of it entirely.
Which is a great thing to debate. I'd like to hear that debate. We don't even debate it.
Oh, no.
That's because nobody stands for anything in St. Paul anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they say they do, but they really don't. I mean, in the end, they just hodgepodge something together, and we find out about it 6 months later.
Right. It ends up in some omnibus bill.
And I love how when either party is in the minority, they complain about omnibus bills.
Yeah.
But when they're in the majority, an omnibus bill is all they put together.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just a joke. It's like in the feds. Whoever's out of power complains about the deficit. Whoever's in power ignores it completely. I want to get a little specific here on some of these cities here. Alabama, home of Forrest Gump, home of Paul Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
Okay. City of...
You want to tell our listeners what you're looking at?
Oh, I'm looking at thebalance.com. The title of this article, this is from August 14th, 2019. States where cities and counties levy additional income taxes.
You want to score along at home? That's where to find that.
That's right. 643 double play. And I'm not going to go through all of them here. I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the things. But again, this is what could be happening. If you're not in Minnesota, I mean, you might be. Our listenership, Jay, goes all around the world. Guy in his underwear in Mongolia could be listening to the show. Okay, two cities, Bessemer and Birmingham, levy an income tax of 1%. Now, that sounds harmless. But, Jay, what's to stop them from making that 2% or 4%?
Well, nothing, because Gadsden's rate is 2%.
Gadsden. So is that the guy that bought the Gadsden purchase? Is that where he's from?
Maybe it's definitely not the Gadsden flag, because that's don't tread on me. And I'm treading on you with 2%.
In Arkansas, again, we blame Bill. 7 Arkansas school districts assess an income tax surcharge. Now, that's a tax on your tax, right?
Yes, it added on, yes.
Yeah. Of 10% on your state income taxes before any tax credits are applied. So
yes,
Renee Bowman could not get away with her tax credits for solar panels in Arkansas.
Oh, no.
They're going to have to rewrite the law to allow that. Blah, 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 blah. Indiana, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I want to stop at Delaware for a second. Wilmington, Delaware,
yes,
has a flat tax of 1.25% on income. It's the same rate for residents and non-residents. How do you charge if I live in Wilmington and I don't work there?
Right.
How am I subject to Wilmington's income tax?
And that's interesting. Yeah, if you live in Wilmington but work in Dover, I don't know how far away those are from each other.
Well, it's not a very big state.
No, so. You're paying the same income tax at a city level than someone who lives in Dover and commutes to Wilmington for work.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. You're getting.
I mean, if I lived in Hennepin County and bought something in Wright County, I'm not paying Hennepin County sales tax. I'm paying Wright County sales tax.
Right.
Right? I'm paying right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Okay. So I don't understand how that works. Doesn't matter. But Indiana, all 92 counties have an individual income tax ranging from 1.5% in Vermilion to 3.13% in Pulaski County. So every single... Now, Jay, I don't know how their county government is structured.
Yes.
In Minnesota, it's structured where they get money directly from the state. They get money from property taxes. They get money from services. They get money from forfeitures. They get money from the feds.
Yeah.
They get money a million different places. Income tax is not one of them. Mm-hmm. But is Indiana could be completely different for all we know. It's possible. But I just find it interesting that every single county, not one county.
Yes.
I mean, think about it, all 50 states don't have an income tax.
Yes.
There's maybe 8 or 10 that don't?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
something like that. Yeah.
Texas and Florida are the two big ones, but South Dakota, Tennessee, they don't.
Right.
They have a capital gains tax, but they don't have an income tax. So not one, not uno. Just think, if uno decided to do that, that's French for one. If they decided to do that, I'm sorry, I obloed the wrong language.
Yeah.
Okay, if one decided to, do you think it's possible that we'd have a copycat?
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be possible if we cloned another county? Mm-hmm. But none of them will take that step. Zero. This is a very red state. This is Mike Pence country, and
it has become what is called an accepted practice.
Yes.
So nobody's looking to change it. This is the way it is.
And I mean, here's another thing: is there a maximum imposed by the state? Can they charge? I mean, at one time,
I'd imagine there is.
In World War II, people paid a 90% rate. I mean, don't tell me it can't happen. Iowa.
Yeah.
I owe somebody $20. Actually, speaking of that, I found $20 in my coat pocket today.
Well, that's good.
More than 650 school districts. 650 school districts in Iowa?
Yeah. Well, we have
387, I want to say. How do they have 650 school districts? What is that? 2 schools a district?
Well, could be.
Impose an income tax surcharge. Again, another tax on your tax from 1 to 20% of your state income tax. So let me translate that. If you owe, I'll just make the math easy, $1,000 on your state income tax, they can charge somewhere between 1 and 20% to go to that school district.
That's right.
That's just crazy. Also, a county, Appanoose County. I'd like to hang them up by an Appanoose. Joking, of course, joking. They also have I don't know why, they must be the only county that does it. I don't know what the reason for that is, but Kentucky, another not-so-blue state.
Well, yeah, my half of my heritage,
Yeah, that's right. Your Cherokee, right? Your Cherokee heritage or whatever?
English, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. A native Kentuckian here in the land of John Breckenridge. 8 cities in Kentucky levy income taxes, again, on residents and non-residents alike. Bowling Green, Covington, Florence, Lexington, Fayette, Louisville.
Yes. That's Louisville.
Louisville, sorry. It's like being in southern Missouri. You're in Missouri.
Louisville.
Blah, 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 blah. Ranging anywhere from 1% to 2.5, maybe.
Yeah. 2.5.
Boy, I wouldn't want to live in Maryland.
Yeah.
Here's what I love about Maryland. Maryland counties levy income taxes on all 24 counties in Maryland.
Yes.
Levy income taxes on residents and non-residents. Well, tell me how that works. How do you levy an income tax on a resident and a non-resident when every county has one?
Right. Well, I mean, again, everything's super close. Someone from Washington, D.C. goes to work in Maryland. They get charged the sales tax or the income tax.
Say I live in city or county A in Maryland and work in county B. Which one am I charged?
Well,
whichever one's higher, I bet.
Well, that's I see the problem there. That's or both. I don't know. Who knows?
Wow.
Who
Taxes
knows?
range from 1.25% in Worcester County. You got to add that to your blue cheese, the Worcester sauce.
Worcester.
Or 3.2% in Howard County.
Howard.
Along with Montgomery, Prince George's counties.
Prince George's.
Oh, Prince George's.
Yes.
So there's multiple princes in that county? Okay. Baltimore also adds an income tax of 3% on top of that.
Yes.
Your
county and
city. You live in Baltimore, whatever county that's in, you are paying, because all of them pay something. You are paying a county tax and a city income tax.
And they still can't seem to do anything with it.
Baltimore, they couldn't fix that city. I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
'Cause I used to love the Orioles. All right. Michigan.
Me too.
Yeah, I just always liked them. Several cities in Michigan impose income taxes. We all know about DeToilet, which a bankrupt city, so obviously it isn't working very well. And they give non-residents a break, Jay.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 2.4% in Detroit for people who live there. It's 1.25% for non-residents.
Is that the Ellen Trammell tax?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
It could be, whatever, the new Ford Field tax, I don't know.
Yes.
Boy, you gotta love the wordsmithing in Missouri.
Yeah.
Kansas City and St. Louis have an income tax, but they don't call it that.
No.
No, it's the earnings tax.
Yes. You're taxed for earning.
Yeah.
That makes you want to not earn.
Hey, earnings can be classified a lot of ways. Remember, if you get your income through other sources, capital gain or something like that, no, that's taxed very differently than your income taxes.
Yes.
If I got a salary, two people can make the same money and be taxed completely differently.
Yes.
So I wonder how that plays out there. If you make your money other ways, investments or things like that. Oh, New Jersey, just a dump. New York, one of the places of bad ideas go to rot. just go to New York. I'll tell you what. I've said this before, but New York and California, even when you and I were growing up, Jay, there was this feeling: if you make it, like Sinatra says, if you make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yep.
It was you could make it in Hollywood. There was this glow about Madison Square Garden was the mecca of, even I remember that was the mecca of anything.
Yep.
And California was the coolest place, gnarly rad and hanging 10.
As a musician, if you could get out and play on the Sunset Strip and
Venice Beach, something like that. I mean, I've been to California many times. don't care to go back ever. Maybe San Diego is a great city. Wouldn't care if I ever went back in a million years. Those states have just kerplotzed. I mean, they're on life support. New York, I mean, there was a time when the world almost revolved around New York City.
Right.
Certainly this country did.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the stock market, with the sports teams, with the boroughs, with the explosion, even in the suburbs there, Levittown and all the other places that exploded in the 50s, and the sports teams, and it just everything was New York. New York's not desirable on any level now.
No.
It's like New York. It could just, I don't know. I know what's happened to it, and I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
I just don't because I'll talk about it for 4 hours.
Sure, it has something to do with the Yankees. But.
Now, come on now. You know I got a soft spot for them in the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's called a bruise. You might want to address it.
But you know what? You can't hate people for being great.
No, you can't.
And for owners that are willing to do anything.
That's true.
And if somebody else doesn't want to do it, then,
That's true.
They're easy to pick on. It's like calling, a rich guy a robber baron. It's very simple.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but...
No, but I think that's how it's portrayed, and that's the kind of thing that, and there is some, I don't want to say some truth to it, because back in the day, and I'm sidetracking for a second, but I have to defend my Yankees here. There was a time where, baseball didn't have an amateur draft, and baseball didn't have free agency, and you had what's called a reserve clause, but you have to give it to the Yankees for going out and getting those players.
Right.
I mean, anybody could have went and got Joe DiMaggio. Today, he would have been drafted by the Boston Braves or the St. Louis Browns, and he would have never become DiMaggio.
Right.
But it was the Yankees who went out and got him out of San Francisco. I mean, there's some truth to it. There's I think some not truth to it. Anyway, you want to live in Yonkers?
I don't.
Well, if you does. Well, New York City's, and I would assume that's all 5 boroughs, right?
Yeah.
2.9 to 3.6.
Wow.
So 2.9 is the low end.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's states that don't have an income tax. The Yonkers tax rate is 10% of your net state income tax after credits.
Oh. They're more generous.
That's right. I mean, we should thank them. Ohio, an interesting state.
Now, before you move on, the New York City Metropolitan
that.
Transportation Authority, so that's your subway system.
That's your Met Council of New York.
Yes, it is.
Robert Moses still in charge of that, probably? From the grave?
Could be.
He wouldn't be because he was a car guy, not a transit guy.
Yep.
One good thing about him.
They get to take a 0.34% tax for workers and residents of the New Jersey waterfront. They get, for workers and residents of the New York/New Jersey waterfront, pay a flat city rate of 2%.
So New York pays a 2%, then on top of that, an income tax.
Yeah.
So if you're in New York, you're paying an income tax and a waterfront tax.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So.
Holy cow. Is there any take-home pay left?
I don't see where that's happening. I don't know.
In Ohio, 235 cities, 331 villages have an income tax, and they rattle off some of the biggest. No
Holy
surprise.
Toledo.
Good thing about Toledo was Corporal Klinger. Ohio law requires a flat rate cannot exceed 1% unless it's approved by the voters. Ohio local income taxes range from 0.4% to 2.5%. So the people in Parma Heights must have voted that in.
Yeah.
The Oregon Trail. One time Lewis and Clark went through that area, and it was just wonderful land.
Yes.
Now another state's been destroyed.
Yes.
And I don't care to ever go back there. Just though it does rain every day. The Tri-Met Transit District, which includes Portland, assesses an income tax of 0.69%, and the Lane County Transit District, which includes Eugene, the former pro wrestler.
Eugene is like, hey, thanks.
Yeah. Assesses a tax on earned income of 0.01%. I need a translator for that.
Right, but
unelected government. Actually, the tri-met might not be, but I'm just electing bureaucrats instead of appointing them.
Right.
So that is another crazy setup there. And to take the cake, Jay, Pennsylvania.
Oh, boy.
Can you explain Pennsylvania? Because I'm lost when I read it.
Well, okay, it says most municipalities in Pennsylvania assess a tax on wages. It's known as the earned income tax. So instead of getting an earned income credit, you get an earned income tax.
Yeah, so instead of paying an income tax, you're paying an earned income tax. Doesn't that feel better?
Yes. So they split this between the city and the local school district. So the tax is only assessed on earned income, such as wages. Unearned income, such as interest and dividends, are not taxed.
Interesting.
So Pennsylvania state law limits the earned income tax to a maximum flat rate of 2%, but home rule cities like Philadelphia and Scranton are not subject to this maximum. Pennsylvania cities with tax rates above 2% include Philadelphia at 3.93, Pittsburgh at 3, Reading at 3.6, Scranton at 3.4, and Wilkes-Barre at 3.
Wilkes-Barre, I've been there.
Yeah?
Yeah, good place to drink. Oh, that's
rather
not...
be in Wilkes-Barre than be with Wilkes Booth. So, although that's maybe how you feel after paying taxes in Wilkes-Barre. So...
So, in other words, if you're a statutory city, let's put that in Minnesota terms.
Yes.
If you're a statutory city, you have a limitation. If you were a charter city, you can write your own.
Yes. And also, local income taxes are assessed on the net profits of businesses.
So after I've paid everything else, I'm not done paying.
Right.
I got another one.
Maybe you can answer this question for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's quiz show time. Who pays for the taxes levied on businesses?
They're consumers.
So the people that are already paying an income tax.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well,
yeah.
Well, it's kind of like saying who's paying an inheritance tax.
Yep.
The people who are getting the money that it's already been taxed. All it's doing is changing hands.
It's a duplicative tax.
Jay, if I gave you $100 that I paid taxes on, why should you have to pay taxes on it again?
I shouldn't.
I mean, that's absurd. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, why leave something for your relatives? Why not just spend it all before you go? So
it's all going to the government anyway.
Government takes a second bite at the same money.
Yeah.
But coming possibly to a city near you if you are in what Jesse Ventura calls Minnesota. Now, right now, we don't have it. But, Jay, let's speculate.
Yes.
Let's speculate as to how this can happen. What would the sales pitch be? Now, we touched on it a minute ago.
Yes.
Or a little bit ago. How do you get people to pay an income tax and not throw you out of office? Well, there's a couple ways. One, you tell them that they're going to tax somebody else. That's always one. You demonize somebody. And well, how do you do that at the local level? I got a few things I can think of.
Okay.
You can do what schools do.
Yeah.
Demonize the state.
Right.
Demonize the feds. Say it's not your fault. We have no choice. Class size is going to be 45-1 if you don't approve this. What could a city do? Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to cut police, cut fire. We're not going to fix your road.
Yeah.
We're going to have weeds at the county pool or whatever. I mean, they're going to come up with a scare tactic campaign because they don't want to make hard choices and they don't want to do their jobs.
Right.
So they're going to figure out. Now, you talk about we've talked about this with schools, same thing. Class size, somebody's mental health, they're not going to get their bipolar medication. Learning space needs to be they're going to come up with anything to sell this thing. And that's my prediction, that if this gets allowed, how are you going to get people to vote for it? You're going to do it by scaring them.
Yes.
That they have to. So there are groups planning and plotting this. We need to be planning and plotting a counter strategy.
Yes.
And that's how, in the long run, this will get defeated. Because there's nothing we can do about Minneapolis or St. Paul or a place like that.
Yeah.
Okay, you people people who choose to live there are doing so at your own stupidity. And I'd love to see everybody pick up out of Minneapolis and St. Paul, move to Alaska or something, just to stick it to those two city governments. I wonder what old Jacob Fry and Melvin Kata, I wonder what they would do if all of a sudden they lost residents left and right. Probably just double the taxes on who's left.
Yeah.
So look for the scare tactics. Look for League of Minnesota Cities to go to the state and say, well, we have to allow this, or blah, 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 blah. The world's going to cave in. There's going to, the costs are just rising and rising faster than we can pay them.
Cities are struggling. They got to be able to improve infrastructure.
Yeah, and build transit and put up an amphitheater. And we got to lure another sports team here. We need a professional croquet team. We got to build a stadium. I mean, and I'll tell you the other thing, too, that is really going to tick me off is the whole idea, and you're going to hear it from some people. Well, it's about local control. Well, now, Jay, you and I know that's BS.
Right.
Oh, we just want local control. We just want the ability to have those things at the local level and not
depend on the state.
Which, again, in theory, makes some sense. But we both know they're not going to turn down their grant money or their local government. They want everything.
Right.
So the local control argument is garbage. But, again, that also has to be countered with facts and truths and showing how much government spending just continues to go up. Nothing gets cut. Nothing changes. And I can just envision this campaign. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
As much as I don't believe in this, they still ought to hire you and I as consultants to get these passed. Because you and I could make a fortune from these cities paying us. And that's another thing, too. Look for them to hire consulting companies to figure out how to market this. Because you and I could go through and give these cities lessons on how to get this passed.
Let's not.
No, let's not. But I'm just telling you, we could. I might think about it. Maybe I'll go visit one of these states. Go visit whatever county I mispronounced there from Kentucky or whatever, and say, you know what? You guys want to double this? Hey, Community Solutions, we're the place to go.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just thinking,
We come up with lots of great ideas here. That's not one of them. That's not one.
I'm being silly, everybody. I'm being silly. Except for the BST. That's the only tax I do support. The bicycle sales tax.
Well, they have it coming.
Yes, and that was also the episode where I couldn't remember what was 10% of 1,100 or something, or whatever it was. I was on a roll that day. I was totally on a roll, and I couldn't do math. Right?
Right. So, well, that's what they get. I mean, I had the other day a bicyclist come from behind and give me a stare, but he blew through a red light to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. But anyways, so yes, it would come first through the National League of Cities to the League of Minnesota Cities, and the stuff's already been written at the national level, obviously, because we have a number of states that have already started these local income taxes. So there's already material.
Yeah,
so
there's a model to do it.
Yeah, figuring out how that fits within Minnesota's laws, which laws need to be changed.
So it takes an act of the legislature first. Let's say that, and then we go from there. And then one by 20, by 500, just think. I mean, you could be a township income tax, a watershed income tax. Where does it stop?
Nowhere.
Because they're all considered municipalities. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, I mean, technically it may not stop anywhere.
Right. That's true.
On that note. So, I mean, hey, look, do your studying. Look this stuff up. We give you the web, taxfoundation.org is where we found some of our stuff as well.
That's true.
You can go there and look for yourself and see how the counties and cities and school districts are levying income taxes. And there's a lot of states that don't allow it, but there's too many that do. And Minnesota, it's a matter of time, I think, before maybe this gets. I'll tell you what, we got to really follow this.
Yeah.
Because my guess is a bill to do this would be called something like the City Revenue Freedom Act or something like that. I mean, they'd cloak it up, in an interesting way,
right.
I think, to get it done. So I think a general debate about taxes, though, and who should take them and where they should go is legitimate.
Yes.
But throwing this on top of everything else that we're paying, absurd.
Yes, I agree.
It's as absurd as subsidizing somebody's solar panels. Notice I didn't say who.
Right.
Yeah. Anyhow.
There's one sure way to stop this stuff, Andrew. And that's by you all out there, all y'all, stepping up and doing something. And we can only do so much. Andrew and I mean, we got a loud voice with these microphones, and they reach to all ends of the earth. But you know what? In the end, it still takes people who are willing to take that information and run with it. Now, that's where you come in. You see, we need 20,000 people across the state to stand up and say, I've had enough, and to run for local offices, to sign up to be in a voice on their advisory commissions. And, the advisory commission is the perfect place to start. And then as time goes by, you feel comfortable, you can run for office if you so choose. Otherwise, still good to have your voice on the advisory commission. So if that's something you're interested in, why don't you get a hold of us? Or if you see these things happening, hear talk of them happening in your cities, get a hold of us. COMMsolutionsMN@gmail.com. That's COMMsolutionsMN@gmail.com, and we will be more than happy to be able to help you out, whatever it is you need. You want us to come and talk to a group, you want us to sit down and do some strategy with you, we can do it. We can figure it out. So we thank you for coming in and listening to us and participating and sharing stuff far and wide, because that's how we continue to survive and as an organization. And we want to be here for years and years to come, until we have figured out a way to change the course of history. We're going to keep doing it, until we're pushing around walkers with tennis balls on the front and, yelling about where's my dinner at 3:30 in the afternoon. We'll be doing it, I'm sure. There's a lot of work to do. And so, again, thank you. We appreciate you so much. On that note, we love you, Minnesota. Now it's your turn to get to work.
my life. Caught a break between the lines. Don't let me be. If I get too caught up